India is on a sweet mission to bring more mangoes to the world. They aren't just an export good. Mangoes have been India's tools of diplomacy for decades. In other words, mango diplomacy. To form new alliances, but also to boost business. Since an EU-India trade deal is now within reach, for this Indian fruit vendor, the time has come to enter the European market. Rituraj Shukla is on his way to present his product to a customer in Frankfurt. He wants to bring up to 40 varieties of mangoes to Europe. Not on a large scale, rather as an exclusive niche product.
Good morning.
This is the most sought after mango in Andhra Pradesh.
This one is really sweeter.
We can try one more maybe. मेरे clientele हैं तो करीब 100 टन के करीब.
My vision is to sell really high-quality produce of consistent quality, very superior tasting, and harvested in optimal seasons.
One thing I've learned at my work is that people need to try things. They need to try to decide if it's good or not. You cannot find them in Germany anywhere else. We are the VIPs that have the mangoes. It's something special. People like to feel special.
At 22 euros per kilogram, one average mango would cost roughly 6 to 8 euros, illustrating what customers might pay for a special product. And on top of that, they're shipped by air freight because of their shelf life of only a few days, which is more of a drawback when it comes to customers who value sustainability. There are many obstacles to overcome for Indian exporters. Strict pesticide controls have also been an issue. Then they issued new guidelines that said any goods you ship from the Indian subcontinent must be hot water treated or vapor heat treated and must be clean. If it's okay, the officer or the inspector must be present, and only then will you get the certificate. Compliance regulations are very strict and hard to follow. This differentiates the mangoes that go to the Gulf from the ones that go to Europe. Raj is working to bring mango production on his farms in India in line with EU quality and compliance standards. He's growing some of his mangoes on farms in the Lucknow region of Uttar Pradesh in the Dashiri mango belt, where production is closely controlled and documented. We've already made a deal with those farmers from whom we will buy mangoes at a very good price if they follow these compliance requirements. His business could benefit from the new EU-India trade deal. India and the European Union have agreed on a wide-ranging free trade deal that would cut tariffs on many goods and create what the European Commission describes as the world's largest free trade agreement. But it has not yet come into effect and still needs to be ratified by all parties. The result would translate into easier market access for exporters on both sides. But Rituraj could also face more competition.
Overall trade deal.
I think the trade deal is a good positive step, but whether it has to do with agriculture or this product, mangoes, doesn't make much difference, because the EU quality compliance is still the same, like mandatory phytosanitary certification and vapor treatment.
Hot water treatment है वो same to same है.
India is the world's largest mango producer, growing nearly half of all mangoes globally and cultivating around 1,000 varieties. But it exports less than 1% of them. Why is that? Most Indian mangoes are consumed on the domestic market. A mango's shelf life is rather short. Shipping takes too long. Exporting them by plane is expensive. Quick spoilage means that they tend to ferment and go moldy, making it hard to meet strict EU regulations. And the European market is very picky. Only a few varieties with longer shelf lives are commercially viable. Closer markets, like the UAE, offer easier access with lower import restrictions. So much for the numbers, but mangoes even play a role in high-level diplomacy. During a visit to India to unlock a landmark civil nuclear deal in 2006, U.S. President George W. Bush made a request on the side to taste India's famed Alfonso mango. He was reportedly impressed, And in 2007, the United States reopened its market to Indian mangoes after almost 20 years. The episode became known as the nuclear mango moment, a symbol of how small gestures help pave the way for a major strategic breakthrough. In a joint U.S.-India statement in 2025, dominated by rockets, security, and trade worth billions, the king of fruits still found its way into the fine print. For growers like Rituraj, that symbolism matters, because if Europe opens its doors, the mango could move from diplomatic gift to everyday fruit. Rituraj has traveled around the world, including to big cities in Germany like Berlin and Cologne, to see for himself which fruits markets offer. He ultimately found a warehouse for his mangoes in Frankfurt.
Frankfurt का impression बढ़िया है.
Frankfurt is very impressive. I think there's a lot of scope for us here.
कि Germany एक बहुत अच्छा unexplored market है.
I think Germany is a really good unexplored market for Indian mangoes because here people like quality. They value quality. Quality, specification, taste.
And जब वे convinced हैं, then there is no doubt.
They like everything to be thoroughly perfect. Once they are completely convinced, there's no going back. I feel it's a much better market than the South Asian or Middle Eastern markets where quality is not a priority. But one thing is certain, if we consistently supply them with good quality Indian mangoes on a regular basis, then there's definitely a scope for change in a good way.
Definitely there is a scope for change in a good way, you know.
For Rituraj, this is not about exporting at all costs, but about turning quality into a sustainable business and proving that the European market is willing to pay for it.